Thought we played very well offensively tonight. Obviously went inside, thought we had some advantages there. I thought our guys did a really good job of having a mix, but primarily playing through the post and showing good poise and getting ball reversal. Missed a bunch of early shots, but once we kind of felt like it was 10-9 us, and then from then on, I thought we played really, really well on the offensive end. It was kind of a difficult game for Boston College. Obviously, not having post is a big loss for them, but I do think it presented some other challenges. We obviously planned on guarding him and doing a lot with him, and then all of a sudden they got 4 guards out there, and we didn't practice that too much. And I thought we did okay defensively for about 25 minutes. Had a few breakdowns, really returned it over a couple times for points, and then they made some tough shots. Give their kids credit. Claudell Harris made some shots, and then the kid Elijah Strong, freshman, who's barely played, makes 2 threes, first 2 threes of the year, has 14 points. They did some nice things to hang in the game for a long time. So give Earl and his staff and their players a lot of credit for fighting. They wouldn't expect anything different. But just really happy for our team. It's good to get a win. We haven't had one in a week and a half, and wish we didn't have quite the quick turnaround, but we got to get right back on it Tuesday with Georgia Tech. So we'll try to get ready.
After those first few missed shots, it looked like it was a focus, try and get it inside to PJ, let him go.
Yeah, and every game is different. I think sometimes media fans at times, like PJ obviously has shot probably a couple too many threes here recently. I think some of that is we get behind and, man, I really want to help our team, and he can get a shot off, and so he probably should pass on 1 or 2 and stick with it and reverse it to the next side, but it's it's a guy who's wanting to help and has confidence in himself. I think the thing that we sometimes miss is that RJ and Ian sometimes have really good matchups, and so Ian scoring 15 points or 15 and 16 against Carolina and Virginia Tech, some of that is because PJ's not down there, right? And so we're feeding Ian, and Ian is scoring around the basket. RJ's scoring around the basket. So just having PJ away from the basket is good for us sometimes, not just when he's making threes. RJ had 11 and all around the rim today, and it's because there's not 2 guys down there all the time cluttering it up. So there are times when we're moving PJ around to essentially try to get our other guys the ball down there because we think they have some favorable matchups. But again, today was an inside-out game, especially with post not playing. So credit our guys for doing the right thing.
Brad, did you like how you guys responded, not just in the game, but after you guys came back from Virginia Tech when
it's funny. It's been an interesting. I've obviously watched all the games, a million times in the last 2 weeks, and scouting, and so can run together. But it's crazy. You can forget that we actually played a pretty good first half against Miami. We had a 6-point lead. We actually had an 8-point lead on the first play. We ran a play, got to PJ, got fouled, made 2 free throws. Obviously, the last about 16 minutes were not good, and the game was, and Miami had a lot to do with it. They made unbelievable shots, and the game got crazy, and we bounced back. It was an unbelievably quick turnaround, and we battled our tails off against North Carolina. I mean, I could not, I was upset with our guys with our second half at Miami. Probably said that on the radio and elsewhere. But I was really proud of our team against Miami. When your guys don't make shots, but our effort, our fight, our defensive intensity. I mean, Carolina's playing as well as anybody right now. And, that was a closer game than 65-55. It was a couple possession game all night, both teams back and forth battling. We just didn't make shots, And what's hard about that is you lose a game like Miami and you've been winning, and then you got to gear back up and you fill your tank up, and then you empty it against North Carolina, give everything you have, and you don't win. And now you got to fill it back up with no guaranteeing of winning. And I talked to my guys about that before Virginia Tech, and we didn't empty our tank. We didn't play as well as or as hard or as well as we needed to against a Virginia Tech team that was very hungry. And again, we let 2 guys go crazy, and we got beat. And so that's the one of the 3 that, no disrespect to Virginia Tech, it was like we didn't do what we needed to do, and so that one hurt. And that put a little pressure on today to play well. And, it's funny, I actually, instead of watching film, was it Thursday morning when we got back, we did a life lesson talk on adversity and dealing with adversity for 30 minutes and then did our film stuff in the afternoon at practice. And so, you're, as a coach, you're constantly trying to push buttons to get these guys to, learn things from what we're dealing with, bounce back. And I thought that that's what we needed at the time, and it was hopefully good for us.
I think Joe Girard was telling us that he's not fun to be around when he's losing.
Yeah.
What was it like?
What makes him think he's fun to be around any other time?
Good follow-up question. I guess what is he like in the gym? I guess when you got started going right, and how important was it a day like today? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I pulled Chase and PJ and Joe into the office. I think it was after we lost to Miami, and met with those three together, and just said, guys, like, I hope you appreciate what you have here, because you guys are our three players that have the ball in your hands the most, take the most shots, and everybody in our program's okay with that. And I said, for example, Chase, your brother Dylan, he plays 20 minutes and takes 2 or 3 shots a game, and never complains. He knows I'm just fighting defensively, do my thing. If I got an open shot, I'll shoot it, but my job is to play through these guys. And I said, other guys like RJ, Chauncey, all these guys. And so I said, and that's fun, and you guys get interviewed all the time and go to media day, and press writes great things about you, but when you guys play poorly, we probably are going to lose. And so there's responsibility with being the best players. They know that. It's not any earth-shattering thing, but my point was, you guys need to work together. You three guys on the court, you're even more connected than everybody. You guys are out there the most, you're taking the most shots, the ball's in your hands, you should be communicating the most, you should be. And there are times, and this is the hard part with Joe being new and Chase being a little quiet, is getting them to do all of that. Because I said, everybody's watching you three. The coaching staff, the other players, we're reading your body language. How excited are you? How nervous are you? Where's your poise? Where's your fight? And that just goes with the territory of being a good player, and it goes with the territory of being the head coach. Everybody's watching me too. So it's really all four of us have to be connected at all times. And so we've talked about a lot of those things. They all really care. They all really want to win. They're disappointed in themselves when they don't play well. And so that's hard. Obviously, Joe's been upset because he hadn't played very well. Didn't play very well against Virginia Tech, and he missed some shots against UNC. But he's too good a player. That's what I told him. You guys are all good players. You're going to have a bad game. It happens. Get past it. Move on. Let's go. This stuff happens so fast, and there's not that many games left in your guys' careers. You guys want to enjoy this, and so I'm glad. I'm happy for him. Chase didn't score as much tonight, but I thought he was just really solid. It takes discipline to know that PJ and RJ and Ian inside have the advantage. We're going in there a lot, and not to just take wild shots and do things. And with Chase running the team, I thought he did a really good job of that today. So I'm happy for those three and proud of them, and it's good that they feel a little bit better about themselves. We got to keep it going with a good performance on Tuesday.
Was Jack available if you had?
He was available today for the first time. He practiced the last 2 days. He's spot practiced. This was the first day that the trainer came to me this morning and said he can play, and he really hasn't practiced very much, so there's a lot that he doesn't know, and so. I wish maybe I'd thrown him out there 2 or 3 minutes, but it's going to be a process. And I don't know what that means after practicing a couple days. Again, he could have a back step. So, we're just going to kind of wait and see, game to game.
Has Alex gotten back to practicing yet?
No, still not practicing. Anybody else?
How important is RJ? I mean, just in terms of having that second post guy.
Very important. He and Ian are different players. He's a little more bouncy, athletic, runs well. Ian, just I mean, they're both tough guys. They're both warriors. Ian's probably a little more skilled. But man, they're really good. You know, those guys are good players. You got to have 3-4 good players in the post, and you know, between PJ, RJ, and Ian, those guys do a nice job for us. And because they're good players, we run an inside-out, high-low offense. If they weren't as good, we wouldn't be doing that. We've run a lot of different things over the years. We ran a little bit of this last year at times. We're running more of it now because of RJ's development, Ian's development. PJ's obviously always been a good player. But that speaks to us changing some things because of those guys being good players. And, you know, Boz, I know he only plays 3 or 4 minutes, but unbelievable attitude, great energy giver every day in practice. And really, he's a nice change-up. There are probably some games that I should play him, you know, 8 or 10 minutes instead of 3 or 4. And sometimes I make a mistake with that.
How often does Josh Beadle do behind-the-back passes like that?
More than I would like. Today was nice. I thought Josh played well today. You know, and Josh has, the biggest thing is Josh has, and I've talked to him about this, he has to practice well. You have to practice well. You know, he's a good kid. He's a very happy-go-lucky kid. He likes to have a good time, and, you know, he has great burst. He has good speed. But every once in a while, he's a little too aggressive. Like, he needs to understand that we have a big 3, if you will, that, like, make sure those guys are touching the ball even when they're out there. You're out there with them. But I like what Josh brings. He brings speed. He brings a little energy for us. When he practices well, that's when he usually gets to play a little. As long as he plays well the first time he goes in, and he usually gets to play a little more, right? And he's been practicing better. You know, Josh had a hard fall because he was playing well and then got in the car accident, and then he wasn't right for a while, and he's trying to play with a mask, and he was frustrated, and it affected him, you know, and it would affect most people, especially unless you're like a starter who knows I'm going right back into. I'm trying to fight for my life for the jobs to get some minutes and convince coach, and I'm playing really well, and then I get in this car accident. I'm out 3 weeks, miss everything. Now I got to catch back up, and I'm wearing a mask, and I'm behind, and I'm putting pressure on myself. It's hard, and it's taken him a while, and I think he got frustrated for a little while and probably had a bad couple of weeks, and now I think he's back on an uptick. In the last couple of weeks, he's practiced better, and it's really good for our team.
Anything else for Coach?
That's it.
That's it.
Did you have Dabo
Go
going?
Bengals. Right? Steelers.
Go Steelers, baby.
Daggum Steelers.
Did you have Dabo going to Alabama?
I did not.